Hello everybody, so today I'm up at the Morris Leslie Classic Car Auctions and I found this lovely 1935 Austin 12. The reason I'm covering this car is it's got quite a colourful past, which I'll get onto later on in the video. So I believe this car actually drove the 40 miles to the auction house under its own steam, so I'm curious to see how an 89-year-old, what appears to be perfectly usable classic car drives like today. My name's Chris and welcome to Retro Ratchet. So Austin really hit the mark with the 12 range. They were popular, economical, but were particularly desirable, not only for their fantastic styling, but also their reputation for being a reliable and robust motor car that you didn't need to spend endless hours maintaining. When I researched these, there seemed to be a bewildering number of different models in the Austin 12 lineup. They were split between the heavy and light ranges. The heavy, which was introduced in 1921 and was built right the way into the mid-1930s, and then even as a taxi version up until 1939. But let's focus a little more on the light 12, which was introduced in 1931 and named the Harley Saloon. This model was fitted with a 6-spot 1500cc engine with a 13.9 horsepower tax rating. So the model I'm driving today is a light 12.4 Ascot, which were introduced in 1934 and in fact the most popular version they offered at the time. 3 different engine options were available in the light 12 range: a 4-cylinder 1535cc with 11.9 horsepower, 2 6-cylinder versions, one with 1496cc and 13.9 horsepower, and another one with 1711cc with 15.9 horsepower. Various light 12 body styles were also offered, including an open-top tourer, saloon and van. Right, let's take a wee look under the bonnet. So there's a couple of little knobs here to turn, and that should release the bonnet, hopefully. And then you pull it upwards like that. And there we have it. Imagine that, a nearly 100-year-old engine. Right, so I'll need to get my notes out for this one because I'm not too up on the spec of these things. Okay, so let's get started with the details. So this one's powered by the Torquay 1534cc 4-cylinder side valve engine. It's mated to a 4-speed manual gearbox. So I gather these were about 24 brake horsepower. And this being a 1935 version, it should have a synchro on gears 2, 3 and 4. So I guess we'll come to see that when we drive it. Right, so let's take a closer look under the bonnet and see what we can find. Well, there we've got an air filter there and a carburetor. You can see that throttle linkage along there. We've also got quite a modern looking coil in there. Distributor, HT leads there. They do seem to be a wee bit loose, so tighten that a wee bit. And that one. Now moving to the front, this looks like what I guess would be maybe a dynamo. It's certainly not an alternator. And you've got your wee fan there to cool the engine. Massive radiator pipes at the bottom, which I'm surprised about. It looks like quite a high flow rate through those. So that is surprising. And then you've got your steering mechanism coming down here. But yeah, there's not a lot I actually recognise under this bonnet. I guess that's your vehicle wiring system in there. Probably a fuse box. You can just see the chassis there with the chassis number. Used Shell oil, so that's obviously our oil filler neck there. And moving to the front, we do have a starting handle that is disabled, so I'm glad about that. It's actually got an electric starter motor in it, which we can just see down the bottom there if I zoom in. Yeah, that's it down there. So yeah, I didn't actually fancy hand starting it today because I'd probably get that wrong. But yeah, so it's interesting under here. Quite a big radiator actually, if you think, for the size of engine. So put in the comments if you know much about these. I'd be interested to hear from you. Now, moving on to the interior, we've got this lovely green leather. It's like an apple green. This seat, yeah, it's a wee bit worse for wear. It's very, very hairy inside. But yeah, we'll get inside. One thing you do notice when you get inside it is how low you sit. So if you look at the angle of my knees, my backside's basically on the floor. My knees are up here and my hands are up here. Now, it's actually quite a narrow car. I mean, in terms of length, it actually looks very, very spacious, but yeah, just width-wise, yeah, it'd be a bit of a challenge if you were a little bit bigger than me. So controls, conventional layout for the pedals, clutch, brake and accelerator there. And there was that wee vent that actually went outside to keep your legs cool. Now gears. I actually never noticed earlier this little bezel that's on the gears. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in reverse is over and down. So again, pretty much a standard layout. There is quite a big throw on this gear stick. Now, this is your handbrake. Press that and then release. Now this one, no idea what that is. Hopefully it doesn't disable the car and hopefully it will start. Now what have we got up here? It's like a old-fashioned heads-up display just at the wrong side of the screen. So I guess this is your little sun visor here. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got your sliding roof, which I'm not going to open. Will we open it? Yeah, we'll open it. So you unscrew that and there we go. We have a sliding sunroof. It actually goes right the way back to there, but I don't have the strength to open it at the moment. So we'll close that and we will lock it. So that's nice. What have we got up here? Wipers. So these are interesting. There we go. How cool is that? Tiny little motor in there. I did think for 1 minute that you had to move them yourself. That's what that was for. Maybe that's if the motor brakes, but yeah, look at that. Very noisy. What else do we have here? Oh, the front window opens by the looks of it. There we go. More ventilation. And we close that. This car is hidden with little features everywhere. Right, let's have a look on the dash. What have we got here? I want to know what these ones are. Certainly that's your start one, and I think that is your choke. That's your start switch, and I don't know what that one is. That could be maybe retard for your ignition. Put in the comments if you know. And this is your indicators on here. Obviously manual windy windows, and that's your door release. And that really is about it. But what a quirky little car. And you've got your interior mirror there. Right, we'll take a wee look in the back and see what it's like in there. Oh, that was my knee. Oh, Jesus. So the rear looks like there is tons of space. So let's get ourselves comfy in here. Now this is much more comfy because obviously you don't need to drive and you don't need to operate the pedals. Like you've got wee blinds there. Hey, this is well spec'd, this one. So you've got wee blinds there. And that's a wee grab handle. And check this out. This looks like, if you pull this, look at that, a wee blind in the back. I mean, this is proper luxury. It's nearly as luxurious as that Rolls Royce we just done. Wee interior light and ashtray if you want to smoke, and a wee bit there for your books. And what else do we have? Oh, look at that. We have, it looks like a wee table on the back of the seats. So that's unusual. It's probably not a table. Oh, of course it's not a table. Yeah, it's for your feet rest. Yeah, you'd have to be eating off your low if you were using that as a table. Never mind, right. Not an expert with old cars. So yeah, nice place to be in the back. Love the colour of the carpets as well. It's really nice. Perfect. Right, let's take a wee look round outside of this Austin. I mean, it is a beautiful thing, isn't it? The styling, all very, very curvy. I mean, this one obviously hasn't been restored, so, you know, it has got a few battle scars from its colourful life. Okay, let's delve a wee bit deeper into this car's very interesting background. So it was first registered in Blackpool on October the 2nd, 1935, and supplied by Queen's and Brighton Motor Company Limited. They were an Austin specialist in Waterloo Road in Blackpool. The car's continuation RF60 book shows that in December 44, the car ended up in the Blair Gowrie area working as a taxi around Glen Shee and Bridge of Cally, and apparently it was a familiar sight on the road back then. The last manuscript entry on the RF60 is dated 1962, showing the car being registered to a farm in the Bridge of Cally. So the seller had mentioned that the car was purchased from a gentleman who had discovered it on a farm being used as a hen coop in the Bridge of Cally during 1964 and set about restoring it to its former glory. There is in fact a Dundee Courier article to this effect in the history file, as well as a Blair Gowrie Advertiser article. So the previous owner purchased the car during 1988, and in part of the car's history file there's lots of interesting information about engine reconditioning and other aspects of the car's life since 1988. There are tax discs dating from July 1945 and a handwritten memo from the DVLA covering the vendor's plea to retain this lovely example's original registration plate, which was subsequently approved under historical significance. So to complete this lovely story, the car apparently drove some 40 miles to the auction site with the vendor of 36 years in the driving seat. So these Ascot models, a few little differences that I've memorised. You've got these vents here in the side of the bonnets instead of louvers. The spare wheel is housed inside the boot. So I guess technically this is classed as a saloon. It's only got a wee bit of an overhang, mind, so... but yeah, 89 years old. You've got these big chrome bumpers here. It's actually quite a spacious looking car. So looking at it from the side, these wheels look absolutely massive. And reading the side of the tyre, 4.75 by 5 by 19. So 89 years ago, you had 19-inch wheels. I mean, it took us till maybe the last 10 years to catch up with modern cars, although they are a wee bit wider now. So yeah, those wire-spoked wheels, they are pretty cool, but very, very skinny tyres. So grip's not going to be great. We're not going to be going round Knockhill very fast in this. So the doors open like this. That's quite interesting. Little feature here, you've got this little indicator thing that pops out. That's controlled by that lever on the steering wheel. So plenty of access to get in when you actually look at it from this angle. It looks like you've got a wee vinyl sunroof up here as well, for if it gets too warm. And this looks like you've got some vents because I can see the pedals through there. So that's interesting. Keep your feet cool. What else have we got round the front? So as we mentioned earlier, starting handle obviously isn't used here. Big chrome bumper. Yeah, these big brackets on the front of it, I guess, to absorb any little shunts. Lovely little Austin badge on the grille there. These big, massive headlamps. I gather they're probably not too efficient considering how old they are. And someone has fitted an aftermarket aerial, so we'll stand in front of that, because that's definitely not 89 years old. You've got these big side steps here as well. Wee badge on them for if you were climbing inside. But yeah, lovely old thing, and it's really nice to see a car this age still on the road. Right, let's see if we can get this old girl started. So I believe it was half choke, and you turn that one to on, something like that, and then press the button. Press the button again. Nearly. No choke, there we go. Right, okay, big long throw into first and handbrake off. Obviously no power assisted steering here, so yeah, it's just brute force to get it turned round. It's not that bad once you're actually rolling. It's such an unusual driving position. Your legs are basically straight forward. Takes a wee bit of getting used to it. And that bonnet's sticking up like that, so yeah, it looks like it's taken off a little bit. Third. 25 mile an hour. I'll try fourth. There we go. Do you know, I can just see over that steering wheel. It's literally up to my nose. second, or turned round. So yeah, I think these probably are synchro, these gears, which is helpful. 25 and then the fourth. I don't know what the top speed of these was, maybe 45 mile an hour, something in the region of that. Yeah, I think 30 is probably fast enough. The brakes are certainly not what you would consider very powerful. I guess there'll probably be drums all around, possibly not even hydraulic, probably rod operated. Very, very bouncy ride. You have the bouncy suspension and the seat is very highly sprung. I do have to practice my double declutching, something I don't do very often. It takes a wee bit of practice to get used to it. I tell you what it does have in bucketfuls is character. It's only 20 odd brake horsepower, it's obviously not remotely fast, but doing 20 odd mile an hour, you know, there's a lot of character about it, a lot of engine sounds, and yeah, you have to keep paying attention. And that concludes my review of the Austin 12. Well, what can I say? It's been a phenomenal experience stepping back in time to the 1930s, and while pre-war cars are a far cry from the usual content you see in my channel, I can say driving the 12 has spurred a little interest in this whole era of motor car, so maybe I'll need to hunt down some more to feature and spend some more time with. Thanks to Maurice Leslie Motor Auctions for providing the car, and I hope to see you all for the next review.